Hi, my name is Brad Micklin. I'm an attorney and managing member of the Micklin Law Group, which is a law firm concentrated in empowering men and fathers in divorce, custody, and family law matters, with offices in Nutley, Montclair, and Saddlebrook, New Jersey. Many of my clients will find themselves either seeking the protections of a restraining order or defending against them. And many will want to know whether we're helping them or not. What do they need to prove? There are probably three essential things that a person needs to prove if seeking a restraining order. The first is that he or she is a member of a protected class. Protected class would be either intimate partners, either you had a dating relationship or you share a child, family members, brothers and sisters, aunt and uncles. And lastly, a growing class includes people that may have a sharing residence. They may have lived in an apartment together, they may have lived in a building with common living areas. They too would be considered a protected class for a domestic violence statute. The second thing that a person needs to prove when seeking a restraining order is that an act of domestic violence occurred. That can be one of many things, and the statute tracks the criminal code to define what they are. Some of them include harassment, sexual assault, criminal mischief, false imprisonment, and many other actions. And this doesn't need to necessarily be an ongoing history. It can be one simple act of any of those may be sufficient to prove that an act of domestic violence occurred on the specific date that's alleged in the restraining order. Last, a person needs to prove to obtain a final restraining order that he or she needs permanent protection. It's not enough to have been a victim of domestic violence, unfortunately, but you need to show that there's a reason to believe the abuse and harassment may be ongoing and continued. If you share a child in common, if you're married and going through a divorce, these are likely to be relationships that will continue in the future. Conversely, if you happen to be living in different states or you're in an early dating relationship when the domestic violence occurs, a judge may find that you don't need permanent protection even though you may actually be a victim of domestic violence. Lastly, I think there are some practical aspects to proving what you need to receive a final restraining order. There are going to be more realistic, common sense application. First, is your story consistent? Do you recall it well? Do you remember what you wrote in the restraining order and the dates? Can you tell the court, for instance, what day of the week it was, where you were, who was there? They're going to look to your body language. They're going to look to how consistent you are in your recollection, and they're going to apply a common sense approach. The reason I say this is because more often than not, there aren't witnesses to acts of domestic violence. So a judge needs to figure out whether or not this is likely to have occurred based on all of this information. If you'd like more information on any of these topics, you can go to our website at micklinlawgroup.com.